Welcome to some Sidisi, Wicked Witch of the West Coast. We're going to hit the east side of that LBC on that mission, trying to find Mr. Warren G. So, mount up, regulators. Hope you're excited for some zombies today. That is Nate Dogg's Regulators by Warren G. Love that song, and I love some good 90s rap. So if you were looking for a good song to listen to, that is definitely one of those. We're playing Sidisi today, so hope you're excited for some zombies, and we are definitely keeping our opening hand. We've got Shepherd of Rot, which I absolutely love getting a Shepherd of Rot game going. That is so much fun. Let's go lead off Temple of Deceit. Let's get the Scry going. The Scurry, the Fever, Ashnod's Altar. Let's see, do we want that on top? I think at this point, I'd rather get something, either some card advantage or a little bit of ramp. So let's go put that on the bottom for right now. And then we're going to go and pass the turn to our opponent. We're playing Sidisi, Brute Tyrant. Whenever Sidisi enters the battlefield or attacks, put the top 3 cards of your library into your graveyard. Then whenever one or more creature cards are put into your graveyard from anywhere, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. Playing against a Rubinia Soulsinger, I think that might be it. You may choose not to untap Rubinia Soulsinger. I feel like I'm not pronouncing that correctly. Gain control of target creature for as long as you control Ruby. Let's just call her Ruby. And as long as Ruby stays tapped. So basically, we'll be able to gain control of a creature. So that's something we want to keep in mind. I don't want to just roll everything out there. If they might gain control of something that we don't want them to have, we don't want that to happen. Let's go. I kind of want to get Shepherd of Rot down. If we go Mana Confluence, and we might be able to go X. Yeah, I think that's fine. Yeah, let's do that. Now, let's go Shepherd of Rot. That's going to be Mana Confluence, because if we get lucky and hit the land drop, we can go Excavator, then we go Balthor, then we go Scarab God. So if we don't hit it, then we'll just simply get down Palace next turn. But at least we get down Shepherd of Rot and start working towards those activations. So we did cover both commanders. Let's give a quick shout out to MTGOTraders. If you want to get into Magic Online, whether it's Commander, Modern, Legacy, Penny Dreadful, whole ton of cool, awesome formats to play on Magic Online. Be sure to check out MTGOTraders, and also shout out to inkedgaming.com. Use coupon code JOLT to get 10% off your order and help the channel at the same time. Got some playmats rolling out this week. Hopefully, by the time this video comes out, you'll see some of the pretty cool playmats I've got. Let's go Opulent Palace. And do we want to push? No, we're good with Shepherd of Rot. And there's nothing else that we can do. So let's just go and pass turn over opponent. And also, I started a Patreon. So if you'd like to contribute to the Patreon, it is there. Any sort of contribution to the Patreon definitely goes a lot further than whatever YouTube ad revenue comes out of it. So if you want to contribute to that, it is there. You can get your name at the beginning or the ending of the credits. And if you don't want to, that is perfectly fine. No pressure to do so. But it does help out the channel. And if you do, much obliged. So now, it is officially free time. Let's have some fun. And our opponent goes for Nissa Vastwood Seer. So we will be seeing Ruby coming down pretty quick. Now, we'll probably end up going for this Shepherd of Rot activation, I think, this turn. Yeah, because I don't mind doing that. Let's, okay, there we go. I clicked on the other monitor. It had my auto yield going through there, and I was like, oh no, we want to get this going. So yeah, Shepherd of Rot activations, it's really fun. It's kind of like the ship is sinking, and it's like, can you just stay on the ship just a little bit longer than the other person can? That's kind of what it's like playing Shepherd of Rot, and I love it. And the beautiful, hit the land drop. So let's go Island. And since we finally did hit the 4th land drop, this is a just straight up spider. I think at this point what we want to do is we just want to go Sidisi. That does leave them open to getting down our opponent's commander and gaining control of Sidisi. But at this point, if we can just get these Shepherd of Rot activations, I'll feel really good. So let's go Temple of Deceit. Let's go black. Let's go green. Let's go blue. And we'll tap down Mana Confluence. And we'll go for Sidisi. Now, if you're keeping score at home, Sidisi is not a zombie. I forget that all the time, so we at least need to keep that in mind, that Sidisi is not a zombie. And we do hit a creature. We hit Carrion Feeder, so we're just going to be able to dump those in the graveyard. And I think at this point, we'll just go and pass turn over our opponent. So hopefully we hit the land drop. That'll put us in the territory of being able to go for the Scarab God. Then that'll really kind of start to amplify some of these zombies we can get on the battlefield, Shepherd of Rot, and also have our opponent lose some life. That's kind of the cool thing about Shepherd of Rot, is that you can go for the Shepherd Rot activations, and then just simply getting down something like the Scarab God or getting an extra zombie attack in, it's going to allow you to close the game out with Shepherd of Rot, so that's pretty cool. So we're going to have Duplicate come down. Let's see who they decide to grab off of Duplicate. Might see Shepherd of Rot, but probably more than likely it's going to be Sidisi. Alright, so I guess since we're probably not going to block with Shepherd of Rot. We'll go and go for Shepherd of Rot activation and still kind of work on getting our life totals down low. And that'll at least send Sidisi back to the command zone. And so we can recast her, and at least we can kind of do a little bit of setting up with Excavator. Now, if we don't hit the land drop, we'll probably end up going for Excavator just to get that polluted delta out and really make sure that we keep making those land drops. We'll probably end up going for that. All right, we run into Fleshback Marauder. Yeah, since we want to hit these land drops, we could go for Balthor. Dread Return on a Carrion Feeder could be something, but we don't really want to end up going for that. So let's go Excavator. And that'll be Polluted Delta. That'll be a good land drop. Yeah, I like that. It's going to be a lot better. And I think at this point, since we have nothing else to do, we'll simply just go and pass the turn. But yeah, I was trying to decide what I'm going to record. Tried to record Sidisi last week, and we couldn't get a good video. But the main reason I wanted to start recording with Sidisi is because some really nice zombie cards coming out in the new set. In fact, that we're talking about ETH Gaming earlier. It just kind of popped in my head to build a zombie like Hunter playmat for Ravnica. So if I've got it released on ETH Gaming already, I sent it in this past weekend. So if it's been released, you'll probably see it pop up on the screen right now. And I'm going to mark the minute mark so I don't forget about it. But yeah, I was like, there's going to be a lot of zombies. Let's say that you're the type of person that's going to go through Ravnica hunting zombies. And he's got a little zombie count sheet on it. I don't know, I thought that was pretty cool. So, but as far as some of these zombies that are really going to be good for Sidisi, I'm kind of going to start scrolling through them. Just cards like God Eternal Ronus, that's going to be really good, doubling the power and toughness of each creature. And the fact that it does count as a zombie, that's also really good. Bantu Zombie God, that's going to be great. You can sacrifice a lot of these zombies. So pretty much all the Eternal, maybe God Eternal Kefnet might make its way in here. We'll kind of see. But where the money's at for a lot of these zombies is they kind of have these pseudo zombie token tribal lords. Now our opponent, and actually I'll talk about that here in a second. So let's go and crack Polluted Delta. Want to get that. We're going to grab ourselves probably a blue-green source because we're pretty okay on black at this point. And Breeding Pool, yeah, we'll grab Breeding Pool, have that come into play tapped. And then we'll go for the Shepherd of Rot activation. And that'll, like I mentioned, we're just really working towards getting our life total down, our opponent's life total down too. Because typically we can close the game out just a little bit quicker than they can, especially with Crater Hoof and different things like that. So let's see what we run into. Grapple with the Past. That is good. Sidisi will end up being 6 total mana. So if we want to simply just go for another one, I think that's fine. Now, they might be able to gain control of Sidisi if we end up going for that. And then we've got a ton of other zombies that we can hit. So the question is, do we need to go Sidisi? And that's going to be prime fodder for them to gain control of with their commander. And that'll be a little bit of milling action. Yeah, I think that'll be good. So let's go Forest. Let's go Sidisi. Because at this point, we just want to have a really nice active graveyard, and Sidisi really kind of helps that, and especially if we're just still kind of pushing the Shepherd of Rot game plan. I think that'll be good. And then also, it'll kind of force them to go for the activation with Ruby, because, you definitely want to keep Sidisi off the battlefield. Okay, so we do hit Deathrite Shaman out of the graveyard. We did already play the land too, and then anything else? No, we're going to go and pass the turn. So actually, we've got a pretty good assortment of zombies. We've got 3 zombies on the battlefield with Shepherd of Rot. We've got 2 more, 1, 2. We've got at least 2 zombies in our hand, 1 zombie in the graveyard, 2 zombies in the graveyard, technically with Carrion Feeder, and a Deathrite Shaman, so we can use either of those with Grapple in the past. And that'll just kind of keep them open as far as whatever they want. Basically, the thing that we do need to find is going to either we need to get down the Scarab God, which I think now at this point we've got, the 3 zombies. I think the Scarab God would be the best, because then that allows us to start bringing back some of these zombies anyway. And that'll really kind of start making the difference with Shepherd of Rot. Now, the main win condition for this deck is definitely Crater Hoof. We get a lot of milling going, a lot of dredging going in the graveyard, build up some nice zombies with Sidisi, and then we use Dread Return to bring Crater Hoof back. But if we can somehow get into this weird non-attacking game where we close the game out with Shepherd of Rot and Scarab God, hey, that's completely perfectly fine way to close the game out. So that's kind of what the game plan is right now. All right, Opponent's going to go for Bant Charm, put target creature on the bottom of its owner's library. Yeah, that's fine. We'll let it go back to the command zone. That way we can recast it and just get those into the battlefield triggers. I think that'll be okay. But I'm trying to find... So we have Vizier of the Scorpion. There we go. Enters the battlefield, amass for 1. And I love... All right, so opponent's going to go for Excavator. And that's That's kind of that. I'm happy because that way we can at least kind of keep the Shepherd of Rot line of play going. But yeah, so with the Vizier of the Scorpion, I love the art on it. It's kind of like the zombie leader, and he's like anointing each little zombie, and they have like this green like snake venom coming out of its mouth after he's been anointed. But he or she, don't want to discriminate against different zombies. He or she zombies or whatever they identify as, and then zombie tokens you control have Death Touch. So it's kind of a cool way to, if we had it on the battlefield, we'd have some zombie tokens with Death Touch. So that's Vizier of the Scorpion. Where is the, there's a blue one, I think that's 5 mana. Yeah, Eternal Skylord. Whenever it enters the battlefield, amass for 2, then zombie tokens you control have flying, which is pretty cool. You know, Wander is one of the key interactions in the stack. You know, we get Wander into the graveyard. That gives, as long as we have an island, that gives all of our zombies flying. But being able to have an actual zombie itself give it flying for that redundancy is always a nice feeling. And I think there's a red zombie lore, which unfortunately we can't run that in Sidisi. But, oh, and then Mizium Tank. I know this has nothing to do with zombies, but I love that card. It's a 3 mana. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, Mizium Tank becomes an artifact creature and gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Then you get to crew it up for 1. I just, you know, that's going to slot really well in something like Nin the Pain Artist or even some sort of a Dovin Bond. Okay, so let's see. Till your next turn, you -1 gain a life, draw a card, and its activated abilities can't be activated until your next turn. All right, so what basically it's going to force us to do is we can't dump a lot of zombies, but at least we can go for that activation in response to that. So that's we can make that work. All right, so that's going to be, and the cool thing about that is we can always do it in response to Dovin. So that's what we're going to have to do. But I think at this point, depending on what we draw into, I'm probably going to end up going for the Scarab God. Sky Shroud Claim. Yeah, I like that. So Scarab God's going to be 5. We go for Grapple the Past for 2 to bring back Polluted Delta. Yeah, I think that'll be good. So let's go Grapple with the Past. That way we can just get a few more cards going into the graveyard. Maybe a little bit more fodder for the Scarab God. And we're going to try to... and actually, if we end up going... So they can untap. Yeah, now that I thought about it, they can untap with Rubiana and then definitely gain control of the Scarab God. And that might not help us out too much. So I still like going Grapple the Past. And I guess at this point... we can go Fleshbag, and then we can go Carrion Feeder to bring those back if we wanted to. Or Deathrite Shaman. You know what? Let's do this. Let's bring back Deathrite Shaman. We can go Deathrite Shaman. We go Sky Shroud Claim for 2 more. So we can either Sky Shroud Claim or we can go Deathrite Shaman and Fleshbag. So I think at this point, let's go Fleshbag. Yeah, let's do that. That'll be an additional zombie on the battlefield. We do have to sacrifice, unfortunately, another creature. But at least if we go Fleshbag, we'll at least kind of get rid of one of the creatures, and we might be able to kind of swing in and get a little bit extra damage with a couple of these zombies. Okay, we're going to sacrifice Fleshbag because we like having these 2/2s, and we'll see who they end up sacrificing. That's going to put them on maybe, yeah, let's say Coiling. And then now at this point, we don't really want to swing into that, so let's go Deathrite Shaman. And that'll be, no, excuse me, I thought Deathrite Shaman was a zombie. He's just a straight up elf. So we still have the Shepherd of Rod activation to go for next turn. And then we'll go and pass the turn. But one of the main things about getting Deathrite Shaman down is we can start to go for these instant or sorcery exiles. And that'll allow us to kind of create the difference with the Shepherd of Rot and Deathrite Shaman. And it also kind of forces them to, at the beginning, during your untap step. So they're going to keep it tapped down for Excavator. So hopefully between Deathrite Shaman and the Shepherd of Rot activations, we'll be able to close the game out. It'll be close. You know, it's kind of fun. You always win with Crater Hoof in this deck, so it's kind of fun to kind of threaten this Shepherd of Rot win. Now, the only thing we do have to watch out for is that if they do end up gaining control of it, they certainly can. That'll kind of keep us off that game plan. But at that point, if we got to force the activation of them gaining control of Shepherd of Rot, it's probably done its job. But yeah, last turn I wanted to go for the Scarab God, but they've got a ton of mana over there. I know they don't have the black activation, but if they can somehow get to the point to where they can get those black mana activation, maybe they get down something like Gilded Lotus, that's not going to be the best for us. We might want to get it down simply just to force the issue. We might be able to get back Excavator. We'll see how we end up going for this. And another line of play is that we do have Dread Return. So we can actually bring back Dread Return, we can bring back something like Fleshbag or Carrion Feeder onto the battlefield. But yeah, like I mentioned, if they can somehow get a little bit of extra black mana with the Scarab God, that wouldn't be the best for us, but You know, we still also have cards like Balthor the Defiled if we need to go Carrion Feeder, kind of sack him into the graveyard. So we'll see exactly what we're going to go for, because I think Carrion, at least having a sack outlet in response to, you know, one of these activations getting control of our creatures, that might be a good thing for us to kind of hopefully try to get onto the board state. All right, they're going to go for Muldrifter. And there will be 2 cards that they end up going for. Now our opponent's kind of in a weird spot with Dovin, so they can end up going for these Deathrite Shaman activations if they want to target it with Dovin to make it to where we can't activate it, because once we end up going for Deathrite Shaman, that will allow us to finally kind of level the playing field. And then we run into Temple of Malady. Yeah, I think at this point we simply just want to go the Scarab God, and that still gives us a Deathrite Shaman activation. Yeah, let's go for that. Let's go the Scarab God. That's going to be black. That's going to be blue. So we go for the Scarab God, and that's going to put us on Deathrite Shaman and Shepherd of Rot, and just kind of make it a little bit hard for our opponent to decide what they want to go for. Or if they've got a counterspell, that would definitely be a good opportunity for a counterspell, countering the Scarab God. If that does end up happening, we still have Dread Return to kind of force the issue if we want to go for that. So that's going to be 5 mana. They're tapping Overwhelming Intellect, counter target creature spell, draw cards equal to... Oh my gosh. Got hit with that spell. Okay, so that's going to counter the Scarab God, and they're going to be able to cash in 5 card draw. My goodness. Let's go Temple of Malady. Let's get the Scry going. Wasn't anticipating that at all. That was pretty brutal. I was going to put Swamp on the bottom, but that's what makes Magic fun sometimes. And then anything else will go and pass the turn. Yeah, you know, if you're wondering why we're going for the Shepherd of Rot line of play, I really love playing Shepherd of Rot. And to be perfectly honest, a lot of these Sidisi videos, they're always just Dredge, and then Zombies, and then Crater Hoof. So if you're a fan of Sidisi, at least you want to kind of attempt to win in a very unique way. So that's why we're kind of sticking to this particular line of play. Plus, I love Shepherd of Rot. So let's see. We didn't cover the red zombie one. And we'll wait to see if before they go for Dovin activation, who they decide to end up picking off of that. But I know passing Krinko. Can't wait to build Krinko. All right, opponent's going to go for Nature's Lore. There we go. It's the red zombie is Dreadhorde Twins. Enters the battlefield on Master 2, and then zombie tokens you control have trample. So that's, you know, kind of setting up to be a really nice Grixis style deck where it's going to be Thrax or whatever sort of Grixis commander you're going to build. Let's make a wonderful zombie token deck. Basically having all 3 of those different kind of pseudo tribal. It's just really cool that they have a cycle where they're not necessarily just all zombies get +1/+1. They zombie tokens do something unique or whatever. You know, that's some perfect stuff for commander. All right, so opponent's going to go for Tameo, and we're really starting to see this kind of this problematic board state for us develop. We can't stop that, so let's see who they decide to target with Tameo. If they want to, they can actually tap down. Yeah, they're going to go for Shepherd of Rot. So let's go for the Shepherd of Rot activation. Each player loses 1 life for each zombie. Now that's definitely going to kind of stop our game plan now, so we might need to start to get a little bit more aggressive going forward, and it kind of puts them in a spot to where the Dovin activation will probably end up going for Deathrite Shaman too. So Alright, so we go for the Exile Instant or Sorcery, and I think at this point we'll go and get rid of Overwhelming, just in case they have some sort of random flashback option or Snapcaster Mage. We just don't want to get hit with that draw 5 cards with a counterspell. That's not the best for us. But yeah, hopefully if we can get some sort of dredge option going and really get this graveyard moving, that would be a lot better. We've already cast Sidisi twice, so it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if we hit the land drop, we can end up going for Sidisi. Now if we end up going for Balthor, 1, 2, 3, 4, then do we have enough for triple black? Actually, we need to hit 1 more black source, so we can go for Balthor. But at least we can bring back all black creatures. So that's going to be Scarab God, Fleshbag, Carrion Feeder. So that'd actually be a pretty good chunk. And it just kind of depends on how we can set up a Scarab God potentially or Shepherd of Rot if we want to try to. It's going to be a little bit hard to. Well, actually, with the activated ability, we can just simply leave it out there and activate it once it's on the battlefield. And that might allow us to untap. Just kind of depends on how we can end up going for Balthor. But at least next turn, since it did get countered, if we don't end up going for that, we can go for the Scarab God with Dread Return. Okay, so let's see what we run into. We run into Wonder. And that's going to give our zombies flying, because we certainly do have an island. It's going to be able to swing it for 2. Alright, so we go Dread Return. But actually, that's not going to put us enough on. We can't sacrifice Wonder. because then we almost need to go for Dread Return to get the actual sack outlet to give it flying. You know what, let's go Sky Shroud Claim, because there's a lot of things that if we only end up going for Balthor, we're going to need 5 black sources, so let's be a little aggressive on this one. Let's go for Sky Shroud Claim. Let's go Bayou, and then we'll grab Tropical Island. Both of those are going to come into play, and then I guess we just end up straight up just going for Wander. That way next turn we can Dread Return and set up a little bit of a better line of play. Is that how we want to sequence? Or if we need to get as much power on the battlefield as possible. In fact, yeah, let's go and go for Balthor. At least that'll kind of force the issue of at least having some sort of threat on the battlefield. We'll go for that, get down Balthor, and that still gives us an open Deathrite Shaman too. So we go Balthor, that's going to give all of our creatures flying for next turn, and then hopefully that'll still give us the opportunity to go for Deathrite Shaman. That's going to force them to keep it tapped down with Shepherd of Rot. And then before they go for Dovin, that'll be at least another life loss. Then next turn we go Wonder, Dread Return, Sacrifice Wonder. That gives everybody flying. That's going to be 2, 4, 6. Yeah, it's going to be tight. You know, we're going to at least kind of force some sort of action from our opponent. Now, we are staring down a -7 from Dovin, so we definitely don't want to get that effect on the battlefield. Winter Orb, yeah, we definitely don't want the Winter Orb effect. That would not be good for us at all. Okay, so they're going to go for Deathrite Shaman. In response to that, let's go and exile a instant or sorcery. I'll go and exile Bant Charm. That way, I think that, yeah, we could go for Brainstorm, but Bant Charm is definitely what we want to get rid of. So it's going to be one more black activation. It's going to put them down to 9 and actually kind of level the playing field at 9 even. Okay, so our opponent's going to go for Birthing Pod, and they actually did, they paid a little bit of life, so that's going to make this interesting to where if we can end up going for the Wonder line of play and give all of our creatures flying. Now let's see who they decide to end up sacrificing with Birthing Pod. Probably is going to be Excavator. No, they're actually going to go for Duplicant, so that'll be 6, that'll be 7. I wonder what they'll be grabbing. Let's see what they grab. Oh no, our opponent went for the Birthing Pod activation and they just said in the chat, oh no, I screwed that up. So sometimes that does happen. So our opponent, they went for a Birthing Pod activation on Duplicate, but I guess they didn't have a 7 converted mana cost creature in the deck. So sometimes that happens. Or maybe Cyclonic Rift. Blah. Yeah, that's not too bad. Okay, that's going to bounce everybody back. We're not going to have the haste option, but at least we got a little bit of a tempo play with that Birthing Pod on Duplicant. So now this does make this interesting. They're going to get a Nissa. They could swing in for 2. That puts us down to 7. Well, I'm trying to figure out what... We don't really have any sort of haste option. Now, if we just rip Craterhoof off the top... Maybe we can get lucky and rebuild and get a ton of options. We still have Balthor, and we still have Dread Return to bring something back. Opponent's going to tap down our Opulent Palace, so it's going to get rid of some of that black mana that we're looking for. But we'll see what we draw into as far as what we can roll out for next turn. And they do shift the Lightning Greaves over onto the token, so that's going to be them swinging it for 4, and it's going to level the playing field at 5, or actually 6, and they'll put it down to 3. Alright, they're going to go Eternal. Now, if they end up going Eternal Witness on Cyclonic Rift, that is probably going to be a good game. Yeah, that's going to be really hard for us to beat. We'll see what we draw into, but like I mentioned, we're going to have some sort of haste option to push past on this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, this is going to be hard for us to beat this one. Unfortunately, we tried to go for that Shepherd of Rot line of play because it's one of my favorite Magic cards. I love going for it, but unfortunately, it is a very slow way to kind of close the game out. So let's see. So we go Shepherd of Rot. It does not have haste. Dread Return on something. We can make them sacrifice a creature, but then they just rift everything back to the hand next turn. We can go Carrion Feeder. Yeah, that's the only downside. I think our opponent's going to get it on this one. Because even no matter how we dump it out, we just get a ton of creatures down. Even if we cast Sidisi for a little extra milling, that's going to be basically all of our mana. We could at least force the issue, but that's going to bring them bringing it back. And then once we tap out, they're going to go for Dovin. So, yeah, good game to our opponent. They're going to get it on this one. We'll go and scoop it up, save them the combat step. Yeah, they're going to be able to swing in with the token, Excavator. They're going to be able to go for the Dovin with the Winter Orb style effect. Like I mentioned, a lot of these Sidisi videos, they play out as a ton of milling action. and we dread return on Craterhoof and then close the game out. So to put ourselves in a position to where we might have been able to get a Shepherd of Rot win, I wanted to go for that. But unfortunately, we got hit with Dovin and Tameo. Now, if they don't get down Dovin to get rid of those activated abilities, then you can see where we almost were able to close the game out with Deathrite Shaman and Shepherd of Rot. But hey, that's how Magic goes sometimes. Our opponent had these cards and they closed it out quicker than we could. So, good game to our opponent. And if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.